A different conversation tonight.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
All right, I would imagine by now there's a little bit of a fever pitch, building for Sunday. I understand there's a game Sunday that some people, actually one of my guests tonight is trying to get the heck out of the studio so we can get a plane and get down to Atlanta. Lucky stiff, right? I got to tell you, I can't express how ambivalent I am about this weekend. It is this, you cannot help but admire what the New England Patriots franchise has done over the course of the last 20 some odd years under the Kraft administration and ownership. It is unspeakably almost perfect. As a Giant fan, the only thing I can do is remind you of 2 Super Bowls, but even that feels like it's just, give me 15 yards for unsportsmanlike conduct, right? I just want to tell you, at some juncture, this too will end. This too will end. So for those of you who are kind of nonchalant about it or cocky about it, I just want to remind you that it will end. And perhaps you'll be the last of a generation who can talk about the way it was at some juncture. Then again, it may not end. They find another quarterback. Or Brady never quits. He plays till he's 70 and said so. We find out that he's actually bionic. I don't know. We will review the Super Bowl on Monday. I figured, why bother previewing it? At the end, everyone's just going to predict that they win by 3 to 7 points. I'm not a big sports gambler, but I do have a little ticket burning a hole in my wallet from the Patriots' AFC Championship win, so I'll probably bet them. It's my only way to try to empathize with your interests. All right, enough of that. On the Friday programs, we record our Friday programs on Thursdays, so we kind of leave the news of the day aside because it just changes so fast, and we're able to kind of break down on themes and have some interesting conversation. And tonight we shall do that on the concept of mentoring. Look at this full screen, as we call it in the business. Thank Your Mentor Day actually is yesterday, because as we record this on the 3rd. So if you didn't thank your mentor yesterday, you need to thank your mentor today, because I think just like Christmas, 'tis the season rather than a specific day. But if you're kind of scratching your head as to what this is all about, here's an ad they run.
Because of my mentors?
Because you mentored me?
I realized my dreams.
Because someone cared enough to mentor me.
Cared enough.
I'm able to offer spiritual guidance.
I never gave up.
Never.
With the help of my mentors,
I'm able to design the world around me. You can be the difference.
Because you mentored me.
Because you mentored me.
look at me now.
Now I'm saving lives.
I'm the coach of the team.
Because someone cared enough to mentor me.
I'm able to capture a moment.
I'm able to be creative.
This is my life.
My life.
Because you mentored me,
I broke the mold.
Because someone cared enough.
Cared enough.
I'm able to mentor someone else.
I never gave up.
And never gave up.
Because you mentored me.
I become a mentor too. Become a mentor in real life.
There you go. MentorRI.org is, and if that 40-second promotional ad doesn't move you, perhaps our story today will. Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
Doug, by the way, is looking to grab a plane. What time you flying out of here?
5:02.
Good for you.
Potentially.
Yeah,
so
potentially.
See what happens.
Lucky
Go
Steve.
Pats.
Just got yourself a ticket. You taking your mentee?
No. I love him at
well,
all.
You know what? That's the end of this relationship. He's good, but he ain't that good, right? What's up with that?
I'll see pictures.
Huh?
I'll see the pictures afterwards.
You'll see the pictures afterwards? I love that. Doesn't get any more
FaceTime, maybe.
Doesn't get any more honest than that, does it? Luke is a student at Pilgrim. He's a senior, and he's been a mentee since grade 2, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
With Doug, who is a professional salesman in the dental field, and you've been looking over this kid's life for some time now, huh?
We've been hanging out for a while. So started when he was 9, I think 9.
Yeah.
He's now 18. And so he was a shy little kid at one mentoring session. So basically, a lot of people, I've been mentoring for about 18 years, and a lot of people say, what is entailed in mentoring? And so,
gee, it was a question I was thinking about asking.
See, leading the witness here. So it's very easy to mentor. So I used to live in Los Angeles. I did some acting, all that stuff. It was kind of shallow. So when I came back to Rhode Island, I said, I want to get involved in the community, something that means something. And so mentoring struck a chord with me, and it's easy to do. I travel a lot for work and what have you, but mentoring fits into your life so easily because it's 1 hour a week. So you go to a school, you have lunch, you play chess, you play checkers, you throw the football. We would throw the frisbee a lot. So you just hang out and you're a buddy. You know, you're that unconditional person that mentee can count on and rely on. And, you know, in a world where sometimes you don't know who you can rely on, that mentor-mentee relationship is an unconditional friendship. And we've been blessed that we've been able to have that type of relationship since he was 9. But like I was saying, so the first time, or one of the first times that I went to go meet him in the school, he was a shy little kid, and I don't know what was going on that day, but he was hiding under his desk. And then he went in the closet, and he didn't want to come out, and I don't know if he was, you know, receptive or he was having a bad day. But ever since that day, we broke through, and we played. And we really established a connection early on, and I can say he's like a son to me. I mean, I love this kid. He's a great kid. He's a smart kid. And I've learned as much from Luke as I think hopefully he's learned from me. It's a very synergistic thing. And so when you say, how long have you been looking over him or what have you, it's a very equal thing, and now he's a man. He signed himself out of school today, which is the coolest thing to me. You know, I'm like, do I have to go in and get you? He's like, I'm 18, dude. I can sign myself out, which I thought was pretty cool.
So, why did you do you know why you were enrolled in this program?
Well,
do you remember?
It was so long. I remember who it was. It was an assistant to my class. She would come in and, you know, oversee things, and she just suggested me out of the blue. I don't know my father.
You don't know your father? Okay.
So I know that's a common denominator for a lot of us mentees, you know. A lack of a parent in the house, but I don't know. I'm glad.
So tell me as much as you want to about your own life. You have a mom that you...
Yeah, my mother and I, we live together.
Okay. Brothers or sisters?
Nope, just myself.
Okay.
And, you know, just a typical student. I go to school every day.
Only child can be hard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's benefits. You know, I had a one and only. You know, they grab all of your attention, but they don't have anybody to shift the guilt to, or the fault for screwing up, or there's a lot of one-on-one attention. I'm guessing your mom has really kind of been focused on you, right?
Yeah.
And you on her. And without a male role model, I'm guessing somebody saw that something might be missing. Is that the way it was?
I think.
Well, obviously, right?
Yeah, I think every student should have a mentor, regardless of, you know, 1, 2, 0 parents. But sure, I mean, Doug's, you know, he's like a father to me. I've known him since I was 9, 8, and...
Well, you know, the funny thing you say that everybody ought to have a mentor. If you don't seek your own board of directors in life, no matter how many people you have around you, you're probably making a mistake, because nobody has all the answers.
Yep.
And so do you think you've been kind of conditioned now to seek counsel, or just bounce ideas off of somebody as kind of a condition of your life, whether it ends up being Doug forever or
a lot of people I rely on besides Doug, but you know, Doug and others have helped me to try and be a mentor to other people, whether it's, you know, a student of mine or, you know, a friend or anything. But yeah, definitely.
It's kind of cool. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about, I would imagine, mentoring the second grader versus mentoring the senior high school is quite the transition. We'll talk about that when we come back. So Mentor Rhode Island is an organization. You can look at foxprovidence.com. Anytime we have guests that you may want to hook up with, or a program that you may want to join, you know, you can always go to foxprovidence.com, where you can see our shows. They're up online usually by the early evening, and so in addition to seeing the shows at 7:30 on MyRI TV and Fox Providence at midnight, you can catch them on foxprovidence.com. And anytime we have a show that you need to contact the guests or be involved in the program, you can link through there. But the website directly is mentorri.com. mentorrhodeisland.org, as you saw in the ad. Luke is a mentee. Maybe that's a new word in your vocabulary. And Doug is a mentor. Doug is going to go down to the Super Bowl, and I think by the time we're done here, you know, you going to try to buy his ticket from him, or what? I mean, come on.
You know what? You go. You go.
Now, are you a Pats fan?
Yeah, I'm a huge Pats fan.
You are a huge Pats fan.
Huge.
And you're a Rhode Islander who went to the coast and came back. If I'm getting this correctly.
Yeah. I went to Boston College and hung out here for a couple of years, and then I went out to LA for 5 years. Lived in Venice Beach, California.
Okay.
And then came back, bumped into a girl at a 10-year high school reunion, and now married and 3 kids.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Who was looking better in the 10th on the 10th year? She or you?
She still looks like an 18-year-old. So
really,
I overachieved.
There's
no question about it.
That's a whole nother story. The 10-year reunion, huh?
Yeah, I never thought I'd come back.
I got number 40 coming up this year.
Wow, they're great. I love reunions.
Yeah, you know what?
They're great.
It is.
They're great.
It's a weird timeline in life.
Yeah.
But you guys have your own timeline. You've been mentoring Luke for 10 some odd years. How do you see that? So you used to play checkers and chess or whatever. Did you play chess in 2nd grade? Probably not, right?
Yeah, we would.
Oh,
yeah.
You would? Really?
Oh, yeah.
No
He's
kidding.
wicked smart.
He's wicked smart?
Around here.
He's wicked smart? Well, good for you. You still do that?
So we're not even officially mentee mentor anymore as far as the program is concerned.
Why? Does it have an expiration date
just
to it?
A schedule, you know, with the school and the timing that we were allowed to meet with one another. But
oh, so in the old days, you literally had school time that was set aside because you were enrolled in the program.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Once a week.
Yeah, and so like they have that in the grade school, and then I have mentees in junior high school. So every Wednesday I meet at War Veterans with a mentee of mine, and so in the junior high school model.
So you have more than Luke?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, and so in the junior high school model, all of us get together in the cafeteria at 7:45. And so there's probably 15 mentees and 15 mentors or whatever. But some invariably because of work, they can't make it. So it's like a big group of us that we play games and we hang out and that type of thing. In the grade school, it was more one-on-one. So you would go, you'd make a schedule that would work for you. Sometimes because I travel or busy, I would go and have lunch. I'd bring a pizza. We'd do that. And then in the high school, once my mentees go from middle school to high school, just my schedule didn't allow for that.
Sure.
And so what we do now is we're gym partners. Yeah. And so, you know, we watch games together. We go to Five Guys. You know, I've got a son who's 11. So he was 2 at the time. So, you know, in terms of, I said that I learn a lot from him as he learns from me. You know, I bounce a lot of stuff. You know, if I'm going through something with the kids or something's going on with the kids, I pick his brain. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? And he's got sage advice. And so it's a relationship I think that we'll have forever.
What is this timeline been like for you? What's happened to you over the course of your relationship with Doug?
I mean, if I ever needed a question or advice in anything that I came across, I would go to Doug. I mean, you know, I met him 10 years ago. I'm a completely different kid than I was then. So just, you know, advice that, you know, I'm sure he went to Pilgrim, so he knows that we've had some same teachers and, you know, just advice.
How are you different?
How am I mean, I didn't like football at all when Doug and I met. You know, just the topics we would discuss with our time together has changed over the years, and I never thought I'd join a gym when I met Doug. I mean, completely different, yeah. Just like any high school student.
What do you want to do when you grow up?
I don't know.
Still?
Yeah, no idea.
Not going to be a sales guy?
I don't know what I want to do when I grow up.
You know what? I asked that question. It's really in quotes. I mean, you're close to the space where you can be considered a young man, but you don't know yet. You want to go to school, college?
I'll be at CC next year. CCRI, yep.
Because that's a good.
It's free.
Yeah, yeah. You just asked Gina Raimondo. I'm not really, I'm really not excited about that. Although I do think the CCRI program, as I've opined here before, being an extension of the public high school program, being no charge is probably a smart thing. Some of the other stuff I'm not so sure about when it comes to the RIC and URI. But I've said this many times: if you don't know exactly what you want to do, why foot the bill for a collegiate exercise that may put you in a different direction. Get your prerequisites done, and then figure it out over a couple-year period of time. You working with him on this process?
Well, I don't think it's much of a process, to be honest with you. I've talked to him about it, but in terms of going to CCRI, I think it's, you matriculate. As far as I understand it, I don't know yet. But I think, as far as I understand it...
But in terms of knowing what you want to do...
Yeah, we talk about that stuff. And this kid's got a heart of gold. And so he's taken mission trips down to Philadelphia. And, we went to the gym, Tuesday? And so on our way back, I'm like, hey, what are you thinking about? And one of the things that he'd love to do, he said, I'd like to go back on that mission trip just to help others. So he has got such a heart of gold. He loves to help others. So I could see him being a social worker, a psychologist. But he's the real deal. I mean, this kid will do whatever he puts his mind to.
Working with others is what motivates you?
Yeah, I mean, that trip I go to, I've gone on it, 4 or 5 times now, and I don't know. I just think it's better that we all help one another.
How'd you get hooked up with that?
A friend of mine invited me to a youth group, however many years ago, and became friends with a lot of people that ran that, and started going there every summer in July, and yeah.
What do your friends think about having a mentor? That you talk about it with them?
In elementary school and middle school, I mean, Doug was, everyone was envious. I mean, I would get,
Your school guy would stop by, you'd get an hour out of class, that kind of stuff, right?
But, he'd stop in the class and, meet some of my friends that, I'm still friends with today, and they ask me, do I still see Doug? What's he up to? And he's like a superstar amongst all my friends.
So it wasn't something that you got kidded over or anything along that line? No. Everybody kind of accepted that's what you were able to do?
People just thought it was my friend or my dad or whatever. People didn't know what it was until they would ask and I would tell them.
So the schools have kind of protected the formality of the organizational relationship, and it's more or less, wherever the mentoring happens, it's pretty chilled, it seems.
Oh yeah, it's very chill. And so like he said, so what we would do is we'd meet at the front desk near the office, say, and we'd play games, or if it were nice out, we'd play basketball, we'd play frisbee, we'd play soccer, and then kids would just come up. And so like in the grade school format, the last 3 or 4 years that I've been in the grade school, we play football, 8 kids might come and play with us. And so I'll have like the first 30 minutes, say, with my mentee one-on-one, and then all the buddies want to play. And so I've got 3 kids. I'm a soccer coach, and I've coached all my kids' teams. I like kids. We like to have fun, like to, all that stuff. So it's like a group thing. It's kind of like a hangout party. But I made sure to always have that one-on-one time so we could catch up and check in and all that type of thing. But yeah, it's not a stigma at all. It's more like, oh, cool, he's here. Hey, can we play? Can we do some football?
You seem to be very clearly you're an enthusiastic guy, and you say you've received more than you feel like you've given.
Yeah.
Often people say, the best quality of life you can generate is when you're actually giving as opposed to receiving. You feel that way from this program?
Absolutely.
And then you've decided to mentor others. How many are you mentoring at this point?
Right now I have one. I have one mentee.
It's only so much time in the week,
yeah,
right? Father of 3, you got your job.
Yeah.
You got to chase the Patriots around the country, that kind of thing.
But in saying that, I do want to impress upon folks that is so easy to do. I mean, literally, I have a crazy schedule. I travel a lot. I coach. I do all that stuff. But it's 1 hour a week. And so I work from home when I'm not traveling. And so if my 1 hour was grabbing a pizza and going to have lunch, they've got to have lunch anyway. I've got to eat anyway. And so it's as easy as you need to make it. So I would not let any barriers of time, preclude anyone from trying to get involved in supporting a kid. I had my hair cut the other day, and I was talking to my barber, and he's like, I'd love to do that. And so I'm going to hook him up with the school where his nephew goes, the local school. And he said, I start Tuesdays at 9, I can go at 8. And so it's very flexible. And there's a lot of kids out there who need a mentor. And I agree with what you said. I think we all need mentors. I think you probably have had mentors. I have certainly had mentors, still have them. And so there's a lot of kids. I think there's a wait list of like 930. And so
there's more than 900 kids who are waiting for a mentor.
I believe. I think it's
probably more.
It's around that number.
Ish. You know what? We'll check that information on their website. Final few minutes and some ideas as to why you might want to become one. Stay with us. So we're having a discussion about the Mentor RI program. Go to mentorri.org or foxprovidence.com, and we'll link you through. And Mark from the organization off camera just explained that depending on what it is that you might want to do, your interest or your schedule or your professional orientation or what you think you can offer, there's a matchmaking program for you and the right kind of young person, starting as young as second grade. And reportedly, as Doug was saying, they're cumulatively, through all the programs that Mentor RI is working on, more than 900 young people who are looking for a mentor right now, which is not a surprising number, but stark when you think about it. So hopefully we're generating a little bit of activity for that. Luke, other than just having someone to talk to and the like, tell me, if you met some adult somewhere who was thinking about doing this, why do you think they should do that? What's the real juice of this whole thing?
Well, like Doug was saying, it's only an hour out of your week, and I don't see why you shouldn't. I mean, I don't see any way that it could be a negative relationship for a student or whatever. I mean, I feel like we're all obligated to help one another out, and I think Mentor is the perfect platform to do so.
Are you convinced over the 10 years plus that you've been working with this guy that you're better prepared for life?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Doug has nothing but my best interest at heart, so I know if I ever have a question to ask him or anything, if I ever need any help, he'll be there for me.
And you get answers and guidance and just companionship with no agenda, right? Yep. There's no agenda.
None at all. Other than he has to cheer for the Pets.
Right.
Not the Giants.
Well, there's a certain amount of brainwashing I think that you probably are allowed in this situation. You know what? Spend a week with me. I'll fix you. Well, congratulations to both of you on the extent of the relationship. It's touching. It's a beautiful thing. Good luck in your flight down there.
Thank you, sir.
And give me a 15-second sell on why somebody who's thinking, you know what, I could do that, should.
Like I said, it's easy. It's the easiest thing you can do, and it benefits you more than it benefits the children, I believe. The children need it, for sure. Lots of them, like Dan said, over 900. But it is so enriching, and I think that's what we're here for. Yeah. I mean, always try to help. When you can help someone in such an easy fashion, no-brainer. Right. Absolute no-brainer. All
right. Well, again, congratulations on what you guys have experienced. I know you'll be keeping in touch. Let us know how you're doing. Good luck at CCRI.
Yeah.
Stay out of trouble. Yeah. And I'll talk to you about the better club when we're done. Safe trip. Might be the last. Final word when we come back. Oftentimes we discuss programs in the community that you might look like and say, that's not for me. I bet you this particular conversation has inspired many of you. I think the only difference between becoming a mentor and not is just deciding that you can look at your calendar and say, you know what, there's an hour I could squeeze out of there, and then going to the website at mentorri.org and telling them you can. Give it a run. I don't know if you got a 10-year relationship in you, but you know what? Every moment counts. Every second counts in a football game. We will review it. I'm going to say it. Go Pats. I might put a nickel on them. See ya. Have a great weekend. Be safe.